प्रेम से आओ गुरुदेव, प्रेम से आओ। हृदय मंदिर में सदा रहो, प्रेम से आओ गुरुदेव। नयन में आओ नारायणा, नयन में आओ नारायणा, नारायणा हरि नारायणा, नारायणा हरि नारायणा, नारायणा वेद पारायणा, नारायणा वेद पारायणा। प्रेम से आओ गुरुदेव, प्रेम से आओ। श्रवण में आओ नारायणा, श्रवण में आओ नारायणा, नारायणा हरि नारायणा, नारायणा हरि नारायणा, नारायणा श्रीमन्नारायणा। प्रेम से आओ गुरुदेव, मनन में आओ नारायणा, मनन में आओ नारायणा, नारायणा हरि नारायणा, नारायणा लक्ष्मी नारायणा। प्रेम से आओ गुरुदेव, हृदय मंदिर में सदा रहो, प्रेम से आओ गुरुदेव। बोलिए सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। Om Shri Chinmaya Satgurave Namaha. Satgurave Namaha. Om Shri Chinmaya 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 Satgurave Namaha. We were seeing different aspects of personality Bhagavan is pointing out using the three gunas. First, he pointed out different types of buddhi: Satvik, Rajasic, and Tamasic. Then we saw, first we saw different types of Sukham: Satvik, Rajasic, Tamasic. Then three types of buddhi. The main sadhana here is, Bhagavan is as though telling us, introspect daily. Whenever we see any sorrow, some agitation or inertia, very likely which two categories we have entered, Rajasic or Tamasic. And he says there is a choice to move into Satvik. So three choices he presents and says time and again we should look back where our mind is right now. Because what you will find is, all these verses look very straightforward. He says, yes, I understand what is Satvik, I understand what is Rajasic, I know what is Tamasic. But unless we sit down and reflect on each of these categories, it is difficult for our mind to internalize it. And whatever topics we have reflected, they will become available to us when we need it. So whenever mind gets disturbed, this thought will come, oh, right now mind is going into Rajasika buddhi. Sometimes when we get stuck with small things, very quickly this understanding will come, should come, that now I am getting stuck with Tamasika Dhruti. Na vimunchati durmedaha. One small thing that I am unable to let go. When that starts happening, that is true progress of a sadhaka. He will grow from tamas to rajas to sattva. Now in the last session we had seen different types of dhruti. Satvika dhruti, consistency of purpose for a higher goal. Manaha pranendriya kriyaha, that fortitude by which he holds on to values, keeps doing the right thing in spite of pressure being there to commit something wrong. That fortitude which holds him together is called as Satvika dhruti. What was Rajasika dhruti? This person also had fortitude, but only in the areas of dharma, artha, kama. Totally skipped moksha. But the good thing there was, in transactional life, he was very disciplined. He made sure that his desires are in the check of artha. Kama is in the control of artha. And artha is in the control of dharma. And somebody who is very clear about material things doesn't get swayed easily. That fortitude is called Rajasika dhruti. But only limitation was, it was prasangena phalakankshi. Means in few things in which he has desire, There this dhruti worked very powerful. Dhruti was very powerful, but it did not help him in spiritual pursuit. That was Rajasika dhruti. What was Tamasic dhruti? Held on to sleep, fear, lamenting, mind sinking down, and intoxication. Na vimunchati, not willing to let go of these. That is called as Tamasika dhruti. If Tamasic dhruti is there, it's a great blessing if the mind can get channelized into any field. Doesn't matter which field it is, at least it will come out of that tamasic state. In Swami Vivekananda's writings, there is one example. One youngster comes to him and he says, "How can I attain God?" He says, "You will do better by playing football than doing anything else. You can attain God by playing sports than anything else." Now remember, that advice is not general advice. He must have noticed that this person is right now in tamasic state. How should I come out of it? He says, do whatever you want, but don't get stuck with smaller things and keep sinking down. That is the way to come out of Tamasika dhruti. Then we saw 3 types of Tyaga. We had started seeing 3 types of Tyaga. Let us chant 7th and 8th verse. Niyatasya tu sannyasah karmano nopapadyate mohatasya parityagah tamasah parikirtitah dukkhamityeva yat karma kaya klesha bhayatyajit sakrutva rajasam tyagam naiva tyaga phalam labhet. In this, Bhagavan flips the order. Previously, he would talk about Satvik first, then Rajasic, then Tamasic. Here he starts with Tamasic. What is Tamasic Tyaga? His daily enjoined duties, responsibilities, that he gave up. Niyatasya tu sannyasa. Daily prayers, doing Sandhya Vandanam, some japa. None of that he does. He has given up all of that. How did he give up? Moha tasya parityaga. Because of delusion. He did not think and give up. Either he did not know that this is his responsibility, or he prematurely dropped it. Kabir Das Ji says, नाम जपन क्यों छोड़ दिया, झूठ न छोड़ा, क्रोध न छोड़ा, सत्य वचन क्यों छोड़ दिया. His guru told him, drop. First thing he dropped was japa. And what he kept was untruth, anger, all those things remained which he should have dropped. That is called as tamasa tyaga, erroneously giving up things without knowing. Now this will apply to different stage of life in different ways. If somebody is in university, student life, what is his main responsibility? Vidyarthi's responsibility is to gain vidya. Student's responsibility is to study. Now for some reason, if somebody ends up neglecting studies, now on paper if you see, you wonder, how can somebody do this? Because you've gone there to study, your duty is to study. How can somebody drop studying being a student? You see, that is the beauty of Tamasa Tyaga. There is no reason to it. That is why the word is used, Moha Tasya Parityaga. Logically, it doesn't make sense, but because of delusion, he ended up giving up his duties. So the thing we have to think is, what is my duty that I have given up and I need to start back? That is the main point. We see examples so that we come to this point finally. What am I supposed to do, which I am not doing right now? Then came Rajasic Tyaaga. What was the premise of Rajasic Tyaaga? Dukkham ityeva yat karma. He feels it is too much of sorrow, too much of pain involved. Kaya klesha bhayat tyajet. And he feels there is inconvenience to the body. Therefore, he ends up dropping the action itself. But one thing to note here is, this kind of Tyaga for a Rajasic person applies only to spiritual matters. Because if you see, what was the definition of Rajasic Dhruti? Prasangena phalakankshi. Dharma, Artha, Kama, he is holding very powerfully, very strongly. Even if there is inconvenience to body, he will not drop it. But when it comes to spiritual matters, he ends up dropping it out of the fear of inconvenience and sorrow, pain. That is called as Rajasa Tyaga. And Bhagavan says, he thinks that if I do this, I will get lot of time. I will use my time somewhere else, because result of Tyaga is this. Whatever you give up, our schedule gets freed from that particular thing. But if somebody gives up things due to Rajasa Tyaga, Bhagavan's opinion, you see in the second line, Sakrutva Rajasam Tyagam Naiva Tyaga Phalam Labhet. If he has given up something out of the thought that it is painful and it is inconvenient to the body, he will not be able to make productive use of the available time. Either there will be guilt inside, why I did not do it, or his mind will be restless. What is Tyaga Phalam? True Tyaga Phalam is, it gives us time. What we do with that time is up to us. But if at all somebody is giving up things out of fear of pain and inconvenience, that giving up will not give him the result of Tyaga. Naiva Tyaga Phalam Labhet. Bhagavan is as though pointing us. He says, pay attention to why are we giving up things? Is it out of delusion? Our duties we are giving up? Or is it out of fear that this will lot of work, lot of pain, lot of inconvenience? If it is because of that, Naiva Tyaga Phalam Labhet. This is what Bhagavan Krishna told Arjuna right in the beginning. Arjuna time and again tells Bhagavan, let us go to the forest, let us go to the forest. Bhagavan says, Naiva Tyaga Phalam Labhet. You will not get the result of Tyaga if you prematurely drop it. We had seen the example of plucking a fruit prematurely. We chant that Mahamrutyunjaya mantra. How does it go? Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityor Mukshi Yamamrutaat. Urvarukamiva Bandhanat means what? Like a ripened cucumber on the creeper. If it is ripe, you just hold it, it will come in your hand. If it is raw, if it is not yet ripened, there is a lot of effort involved. He says Tamasa Tyaga, Rajasa Tyaga. is prematurely plucking it. Satvik Tyaga is ripened cucumber. So the prayer to Bhagwan is, may all the desires which are contrary to moksha, may all of them be removed from my mind. May I effortlessly let go of bondage like that ripened cucumber. Just hold it, it comes. Now comes the main Tyaga, called as Satvika Tyaga. You see the 9th verse. Karyamityeva yat karma niyatam kriyate arjuna sangam tyaktva phalam chaiva satyaga satviko matah karyamityeva yat karma niyatam kriyate arjuna sangam tyaktva phalam chaiva satyaga satviko matah. What is Satvik Tyaga? Interestingly, this person is not giving up action. See the first line. Karyamityeva yat karma. He is doing actions because it is his bounden duties. Whether he likes it or not, whether it is appealing or not, he said, doesn't matter. This is my duty. Therefore, I have to do it. No questions asked. Karyamityeva yat karma. Niyatam kriyate Arjuna. Niyatam means daily duties and occasional duties. Daily duties, what we have to do every day. Work will be one example, taking care of family, doing our daily prayers. He doesn't ask this question, why should I do it? That is the meaning of the word niyatam. Occasional duties, if somebody needs help. Doesn't happen every day, but once in a while, if somebody needs something, that is called as occasional duty, naimittika karma. Both these things he is doing with a sense of duty. But Bhagwan, I thought Tyaga means you have to give up something. What has he given up if he is doing his actions as usual? He says, what he has given up is in the second line. Sangam tyaktva phalam chaiva. He has given up attachment to the action and he has given up attachment to the result. See what Satvik Tyaagi has given up. He has not given up action. He has given up attachment while doing the action towards the action. And he has given up strong insistence and attachment to result of action. Saha Tyagi Satvikaha Mataha. That Tyagi is called Satvika Tyagi. Not the one who gives up out of delusion. Not the one who gives up out of pain, fear of pain and inconvenience. But the one who gives up attachment to the action and the result. That person is Satvik Tyaagi. Attachment in Sanskrit, Hindi also, is called asakti. So one commentator he writes, ये आसक्ति कब भी आ सकती है, कहीं भी आ सकती है, कैसे भी आ सकती है. He says, be alert. This asakti can come anytime, even in good things. It can come anywhere, even in the most holy place. And it can come anyhow. The one who is alert towards this is a Satvik Tyaagi. How does a person get attached to actions? Whenever we do that action for a long time, generally a person gets attached. There was one person in his Purvashrama, he was a weightlifter. And then something happened, he became a sadhu. Now, previously he was used to lifting weights, so he precisely knows how much is 20 pound, how much is 50 pound. So even when he would go for bhiksha, that roti he would weigh. Because that purva samskara is there. Anything comes, he has to weigh. He says that is attachment to karma. You do something for a long time, it becomes part of our personality. In Sanskrit, there is one maxim, Shvashru Nirga Chokti Nyaya. Shvashru Nirga Chokti. It's not complicated. Huh? The maxim of daughter-in-law and mother-in-law. So what happened was, there was one home where mother-in-law had gone to temple. And one beggar comes to the home. Daughter-in-law is standing at the door and she tells him, there is nothing inside, go away. Now that beggar was coming from their home, mother-in-law was reaching the home. And she saw this beggar coming from the home. She said, how come you are coming from our home? He said, I went there. She said, lady was there. She said, nothing is there, go away. He said, how dare she say this? Come with me. He thought she is going to give him something. She went there, stood in the same place and said the same line. There is nothing here, go away. This is called, that Nyaya is called Shvashru Nirgat Chokti Nyaya. Means if I am supposed to do it, only I am supposed to do it, not anybody else. They have their own way of pointing out. Shvashru Nirgat Chokti is an innocent example. What we have to see in our life, how this karma one gets attached to. In Sandeepany, we would notice we get attached to our seat the most. Because same day you sit there. And if you see somebody else sitting there, it takes some time to calm yourself down and pay attention. He says that is the attachment to karma. One who is able to give it up, one who is able to go over attachment to result also. Result is going to come in future. Karma is happening right now. Towards both he is detached. You know, our Chinmaya mission, first publication, 1955, it was called Tyaagi. The first publication. I came across one letter written by Gurudev to a Sevak. This Sevak has sent him the first draft of Tyaagi. And Gurudev somewhere, he received it. He is writing back to that Sevak. I will read that letter as it is. You will see his sense of humor and his way of communicating. Received the first issue of the Tyaagi and the copy of the book Viveka Chudamani. I am glad that Tyaagi deserves its great name because it looks like a Tyaagi itself. It has no ornamentation. Even the paper quality is teaching Tyaga and Vairagya and Jnana to others. By God's blessings, may it protect and follow the greatness of its name. Sometimes I miss meeting him in person, you know. We'll feel his presence. Mahasamadhi camp. I hope all of you are coming. It's a beautiful way to connect. Ramakrishna Paramahamsi, he says, the main essence of Bhagavad Gita is Tyaaga. Bottom line of Bhagavad Gita is Tyaga. Somebody asked him, how do you conclude this? He says, keep what is Bhagavad Gita shortened form? Gita. He says, keep saying Gita, 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 Gita. Tyagi in Bengali means Tyaga. He says, if you study Bhagavad Gita, the essence which will come out of it is Tyaga. What kind of Tyaga? He says, Satvik Tyaagi. Now Bhagwan, in one verse, he says this Satvik Tyaga will lead us to the supreme most goal of life. Wherever the Lord has placed us, whatever the Lord has given us, doing that duty with the spirit of Satvik Tyaga. How will it take us? Look at the 10th verse. Nadveshtya kushalam karma kushalena Tyagi sattva samavishtaha medhavi chinna samshayah nadveshtya kushalam karma kushalenanusajjate tyagi sattva samavishtaha medhavi chinna samshayah. Pay attention to the second line. First line is actually the result. Somebody who has gained the supreme, what is his vision? That is the first line. Second line, 3 stages are pointed out in the journey of a seeker. First stage is Tyagi Sattva Samavishtaha. Means his personality has been engulfed by Sattva. Avesha word have you heard before? Avesha means what? Something overpowers you. Easier to understand is Krodha Avesha. Anger overpowers. Like that, Sattva Avesha. Sattva Guna overpowers his personality. What happens with that? He is able to do Shravanam. First result of Satvik Tyaga is he is able to listen to the scriptures with attention. Not only listen, he is able to absorb it right away. That is the blessing of Sattva Guna. Any knowledge, if somebody is in university, the moment you listen to something, absorbing it right away, that is the quality of Sattva Guna. So Shravanam happens precisely because of Satvik Tyaga, Sattva Guna. Second stage is Medhavi. Medhavi means he gets steady wisdom. He is able to reflect upon the essence of the text, essence of the teaching. Do you remember this word Medhavi? Somewhere recently we saw in some text, Viveka Chudamani. Main qualification of a student is Medhavi. Medhavi means what? Grantha Artha Dharana Shakti. He is able to absorb the essence very quickly. And also remember what all things were said in the past. Then only his systematic knowledge is built. Otherwise, imagine every time he has to start from scratch. Studied Tattva Bodha, Atma Bodha, forgot Tattva Bodha. Again he comes to Tattva Bodha. Many study groups this happens, They start with Tattva Bodha. By the time they finish, some new people have joined. And those who are there, they have forgotten. Again they start the same text. Our study has to be step by step. Once the foundation is built, We might not remember the whole text, but the foundational key points that he remembers. First one is Tyaagi, Sattva Samavishtah. Second stage is Medhavi. Third stage is Chinna Samshayah. Chinna Samshaya means he doesn't have any doubts about the truth. He doesn't have any doubts about how I am that truth. To say Brahman is the substratum of creation, generally we don't have any problem. Let it be so. Brahman is wonderful, let Brahman be substratum of creation. But if Vedanta asks us to say, I am substratum of creation, in that statement he should not have any doubts. What is that I referring to? Is it referring to the body? No, because body is part of creation. Is it referring to the mind? Not the mind. Then what is it referring to? It is referring to pure consciousness. The witness of thought, that is the meaning of true I. In this he doesn't have ambiguity. When will this happen? Only when he has meditated regularly. Meditation is seeing our goal repeatedly. Goal is Brahman, which is devoid of all conditionings. So at least for some time in the day, I should pay attention to it exclusively. It is true that even in transactions, that Brahman is illumining all my transactions. But whenever I am in transaction, attention is on the world. I cannot avoid it. So Chinna Samshaya happens when he pays exclusive attention to his goal. Did you see what is pointed out in the second verse? Tyaagi Sattva Samavishtah Shravanam, Medhavi Mananam, and Chinna Samshayah Nididhyasanam. How did he reach all these things? By doing his duties well. This is the beauty of Bhagavad Gita. It tells us how to bridge our day-to-day life with our absolute goal. Because the first thing that comes to a sadhaka's mind, if I want to be spiritual, I have to run away, I have to keep away my daily duties. And Bhagavan says, it is only through our daily duties we can be spiritual. Provided asakti is given up. Small conditions apply. Towards karma, towards the result. Now if somebody does this journey, what is the result? Look at the first line. It's a very beautiful line to keep in mind. Nadveshti akushalam karma. Kushalena anusajjate. He doesn't have strong preferences towards, I will do only this thing and I will not do that thing. Akushalam karma means those actions which he doesn't like to do. Towards those actions he doesn't have dvesha. And those actions which he likes to do, kushalam karma, na anusajjate, doesn't get helplessly drawn towards them. When it comes to himself, this becomes his mindset. He is very flexible in terms of what he wants to do. He will do what is needed to be done. That is the beauty of Satvik Tyaagi. He is trained in such a way, don't ask this question. He tells his mind, don't give me this option, I want to do this, I don't want to do this. Nadveshti akushalam karma, kushalena anusajjate. Now some commentators, they have given another meaning of the word kushala and akushala. Akushala karma means those actions which are not done well. And kushala karma means those actions which are done very well. Now they say when it comes to others, he doesn't develop hatred, doesn't become impatient towards somebody who is not doing actions properly. Nadveshti akushalam karma. And whoever is doing actions well doesn't get attached. Towards that person, he doesn't get attached. And those who are not doing actions well, he is very patient with them. That is the second meaning of Nadveshti akushalam karma kushalena anusajjate. Because his benefit is not coming from the action. His benefit is coming from attitude towards the action. His main question is, am I having asakti or have I gone beyond asakti? Am I getting attached or have I gone beyond attachment? Otherwise, sometimes this extreme perfectionism can bring lot of sorrow. Swami Akhandanandji, he writes in one place, whenever you know to chant well, sometimes you will be the most miserable person. Because wherever you hear mistakes in chanting, it will bother you. Singing also same. Huh? If you are a good singer, anybody does a mistake, it will start bothering you. So he goes to one place where he was invited as chief guest. And one brahmachari was doing Vedic chanting, all mistakes. Other people who were there with him, they were getting upset. And their expectation was, Swamiji should say something. And he was quietly sitting. He came back after the program. In the car, people asked him, Maharajji, why didn't you correct them? If you don't correct, how will he know? He said, see, they called me as a chief guest. I did not teach him Vedic chanting. He has his own teacher. I am there for 1 hour. My job is not to see guna and dosha. In Hindi he said, gun dosh dekhna mera dharm nahi hai. If he is my student, then I will correct him. If he is somebody's student and he is doing mistake, why should I get worried about everybody's mistake? He says, that is this line, Nadveshti akushalam karma. Kushalena anusajjate. Otherwise, see how much of stress and strain it brings to a person. Puja Guruji says, perfection is the one who is himself unhappy and keeps everybody else unhappy. Do this, don't do this. Satvik Tyaagi will have this quality. Nadveshti akushalam karma kushalena anusajjate. Bhagavad Gita, you will find it walks between these both boundaries of absolute truth and day-to-day life. You see how beautifully in one verse, first line he is pointing out, how does his knowledge reflect in everyday life? Second line he says, Shravanam Mananam Nididhyasanam. That is our journey. Okay, how many triads have we seen so far? 3 types of Sukham, 3 types of Buddhi, 3 types of Dhruti, and 3 types of Tyaaga. 4 triads we have seen. When you get some time, you can do another activity. Look at all Sattva Gunas together. What is Satvik Buddhi? How does the Satvik Buddhi express as Satvik Sukham? How does it like Satvik Sukham? Satvik Dhruti and Satvik Tyaaga. Not right now, huh? When you are inspired to do Ambatvam Anusandadhami. Then look at all tamasic together. You will find seamlessness. Or if you want to organize it, take one sheet, write Sattva, Rajas, Tamas as the column. And in the rows, write all the 7 aspects. Sukham, Buddhi, Dhruti, Tyaga, and 3 more we are going to see. Then you see how, don't write all details and then it becomes too much. Just those pointers which are needed to remember the whole thing. Bhagwan has given us one very beautiful mechanism. If somebody says, do you remember this? Very likely we don't. But if they start giving you 1 or 2 points, all other points will come. What is Satvik Buddhi? 4 pairs you remember? That is all we have to note. The one who is able to discern between these 4 pairs, that is Satvik Buddhi. Like that, key points of each one. Now he takes up a very important topic of karma. Until now it was only sadhana related. Now he says, let us focus on actions. He gives an introduction. He says, no matter which project you take, either it is spiritual life, your work, these 5 ingredients need to be very healthy. Unless these 5 are there, it is difficult for that work to be successful. What are these 5? Look at the 14th verse. Adhishtanam tatha Karta Karanam cha pruthagvidham Vividhascha pruthak cheshtaha Daivam chaivatra panchamam Adhishtanam tatha Karta Karanam cha pruthagvidham Vividhascha pruthak cheshtaha Daivam chaivatra panchamam. 5 aspects. First aspect is Adhishtanam. Adhishtanam means that place where you are going to sit and do the work. What is the first place? Body. He says body needs to be healthy. If it's an office place, then that office space where this person is going to go and sit, that is called as Adhishtanam. Nowadays it's mostly work from home. That place will become our Adhishtanam, wherever we have kept. Second is doer, one who is going to do the action. His mindset has to be very healthy. So now he is going to point out what is the knowledge of that doer, Karta. What are the different types of doers? Jnanam and Karta. He is going to point out later. Satvik, Rajasic, Tamasic. First one was place of work. Second is one who is doing the work, Karta. Third is Karanam. Karanam means whatever instruments are needed for us to accomplish that work. So if it is an office place, the printer which is there, phone is there, computer is there. This is make sure everything is working. See how precise his thinking is. If work has to be successful, we have to pay attention to Karanam. Instruments have to be very well tuned. Bhagwan says there is nothing much I have to tell about this point, Karanam. So he doesn't talk too much about it. He says whatever is your workplace, make sure that instruments are working fine. In our culture, we do Ayudha Puja. Day before Diwali, all instruments whichever we use, we put some Chandan Tika, garland, do one Aarti. That is this bhavana. This is my Karanam. It is needed to finish my work properly. Fourth one is Cestah. Cestah means different actions which are done there. Different actions which are done in that workplace. Fifth one is very wonderful. Daivam. Daivam means God's grace. Adhishtanam is the place. Karta is the doer. Karanam is the instrument. Cestah is the action. And Daivam is God's grace. If 5 things are healthy, our work is wonderful. Out of these 5, Bhagwan is going to elaborate Karta. He is going to say what is the knowledge of this Karta and what are the types of Kartas. Satvik, Rajasic, Tamasic. And Cestah is going to elaborate. What are the types of karma? Satvik, Rajasic, Tamasic. Okay. More we will see in the next session. There are some questions here also, so I will take them in the beginning. If you have more, you can write it down and we can discuss. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.